So a question I would see sometimes is, does updating your iPhone slow it down? Now, the quick answer of that is there's not really a crazy correlation. Like Apple's not going through and trying to purposely slow down your iPhone, anymore as far as we know. Because if they were, then they'd probably get in another lawsuit. Before they were doing this because of your hardware, because of the battery. But iOS, Android, Windows, macOS, all these versions of software, what ends up happening is over time, when you have, let's say, a very old iPhone, let's say you have an iPhone, 6S right now, but then you try to install iOS 18 or iOS 17 on it, guess what ends up happening? That phone, when it initially came out, it came out with like iOS 9 or something. But then if you try to install iOS 17 on it, it's not going to be able to perform at the same levels as its older version of software. And the reason for this is because every single year Apple makes a new version of software, they're not really tailoring the newest version of software for the oldest phone. Even though the oldest phone is still supported, they're making sure it works and it's stable. Their main priority is making sure that the newest iPhones, so the iPhone 15 and maybe the 14 and 13, those particular iPhones are able to handle all the features, able to be supported with everything within those versions of softwares. That way they can go ahead and make sure that those, softwares are tailored for the newest generation, where most likely most people end up owning those phones, versus like one specific old iPhone like the 10 or 11 series. So because of that, when you're comparing, if you kind of keep that in your head, if you go back to when those phones first retailed with those versions of softwares, iPhone 11 on day one was very fast. iPhone 11 now isn't really doing so well. Same thing with battery life and everything, because as phones get older and older, these newer and newer softwares demand more and more resources. And these older phones can't really give you the same type of resources as they used to. Back in the day in 2019, iOS 13 was tailored for the iPhone 11, but just like how the iPhone 11 was tailored with iOS 13, iOS 13 was also supported on the iPhone 6S, and it wasn't tailored for that. So that phone, even though that phone debuted with iOS 9 or whatever, and that phone was very good on that version of software, there's always going to be an older iPhone, and at some point the iPhone 15 will be an old iPhone, and that version of software that the iPhone 15 is going to end off at isn't really going to be as performance heavy as this, on iOS 17 that we have right now. So inherently, updating your iPhone doesn't slow it down, but it can slow it down because these softwares demand more and more resources, especially if you're, upgrading your iPhone. You're probably going to upgrade your applications as well. So those games and apps and all that, those types of applications demand more and more over time. Back in the day, applications used to be like a couple megabytes, maybe like 10, 20 megabytes. Now they're like hundreds and hundreds of megabytes, and they only get bigger and bigger as the more and more you use them, because they cache files, and that can slow things down sometimes too, depending on, even though cache files and things like that, kind of speed it up because it saves stuff. But it just shows how much bigger these applications are getting and how much more demanding these resources are and how much more they demand from your particular phones. So that kind of covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.